intern. I've been back for about 10 months now in Queensland and really loving being back. But I've been living in Vancouver for the last 7 years, where I was working with Tourism Canada, otherwise known as the Canadian Tourism Commission. You'll probably hear me talk about CTC when I speak, because it's the land of industry of acronyms, as we all know. And when they asked me to speak today, I was sort of like in a bit of a bind. You know, would they mind if I shared a bit of my experience working in Canada, or did you want me to make it all about Queensland? And they were like, no, go for it, just mash it up. So today is a presentation that is a total mashup, hashtag mashup. I guess today's description of today was a mega digital day. So my passions are tourism and marketing, so I'm really happy to be here today. And what I thought I would do is just share some of the lessons I've learned over the years and talk a bit about how you can get visitors marketing your tourism business for you. And I'm hoping for all the RTOs in the room that you can still draw some relevancy, you know, maybe more around how you can get visitors marketing your destination for you. There should be, I'm hoping, some relevancy between there. So whenever I talk about tourism marketing, I always like to, I am a strategic thinker, I always like to start by putting it in context to the path to purchase. The path to purchase, this is a model that we developed while I was at CTC, and it's basically a model to help us understand the decision journey of a long-haul traveller, and to try and figure out how, through our marketing efforts, we were being impactful in moving people to purchase the destination. So this is a model that we created. Obviously, when you're thinking about long-haul travel, it's sometimes a decision that can take someone a long time before they actually book a trip. Particularly long-haul, you know, trying to get an Australian to go to Canada, it can be years that they're dreaming about that destination before they actually book. So anyone sort of that's done Marketing 101, I'm sure you would have seen something like this. It's sort of the traditional sales funnel. You start at the top, you've got lots of options, and then as you get closer to the point of making your purchase, you've knocked other options off the list until you're at the bottom and you finally buy. So when I joined CTC, it was 2009, and this is the path to purchase that we use, and this is how we measured our work. And fast forward 2 years on, it was 2011, and across the organisation, we were really wondering if this model was still relevant. And what kind of made us all question that was we had seen just phenomenal change in the way people were travelling, and the way people were sharing and using their mobiles. And you know, we really wanted to figure out, does this still make sense? I was heading up the social media team. I had people saying to me, you know, you should put 100% of your budget into social media. You shouldn't put any money into traditional media. So we really wanted to figure out, is that true? And so we did a whole bunch of research on this. At the end of the day, our job was to get more people to travel to Canada, is drive more sales. So, you know, if we were going to change our strategy, we really wanted to be clear that it was the right thing to do. So 2011, our research team did a whole bunch of work, and at the end of it, we actually revised our path to purchase. And it was one of the path to purchase is sort of like tattooed on everyone who's ever worked at CTC. It really is one of the strategic pillars that drives everything that we did. So this is what the path to purchase now looks like, and it still looks like this today in 2014. So 2 key steps we added to the path to purchase. Our old path to purchase, it stopped at the purchase, it stopped at book a trip. So what was missing was what happens after you buy. You go to the destination and you explore the destination. And you know, what we realise is that the way people are travelling now, through being hyper-connected with mobile, being hyper-connected to Wi-Fi, and being connected to social media, that they're sharing about that experience now while they're in region. And then the next thing is they go home and they keep talking about their experiences. Over 70% of us update our Facebook status while we're on holiday. And as I said, when we go back home, we continue to share, we continue to advocate. We might write a review on TripAdvisor. We might just talk to our colleagues around the water cooler about the recent trip we were on. And what we realise is that all of that post-trip advocacy, is what we call it, is influencing other people to purchase that same holiday. So more than 50% of us have taken a trip based on a photo posted by a friend on social media. This is me. I was hosting a famille up in TNQ recently. This is just one of my terrible photos. One of my friends in Canada actually commenting, you know, you've been posting such amazing photos, they make me want to be where you are. That's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the kind of comments that all of them were getting on their photos. So as I said, you know, based on this, we revised our path to purchase, and as an organisation, we completely changed our marketing strategy. And our whole approach was advocacy. It was an advocacy strategy. So we knew that when someone comes back and they share about their experience, it might not be directly driving a sale, but what it's doing is it's influencing other people that are on the path to purchasing that destination, and it more quickly moves them to the same purchase. It validates for them that it's a good choice and that it's a great destination. So for me, heading up the social media team, I completely changed the social strategy and developed a 100% social strategy. And as I said, that was 2011, and I'm really glad that we did that. And I think this photo is a really great demonstration of why we made a really good move. A lot of people have probably seen this photo. It's a photo that's taken in the same place, and it's taken at the Vatican in St. Peter's Square. So the photo at the top is taken in 2005 when the previous Pope was announced. And then the photo at the bottom is the exact same location, taken 8 years later when the current Pope Francis was appointed. And I think a lot of people show this photo to demonstrate, the absolute explosion of mobile. But what really stands out to me with this photo, when I first saw it, it really struck me, was our absolute obsession today with capturing moments that are meaningful digitally. I'm blessed in the job I do. I get to do some amazing experiences, and just to stop and be in the moment and put my phone down and not be experiencing my experience through my digital device. But this is a reality. This is how people are experiencing tourism today. And I don't think it's necessarily the best thing. Like the wannabe Buddhist in me thinks, be in the moment, enjoy it, put your phone down. But in terms of tourism marketing, I think this is a huge opportunity for us in the tourism industry. And the opportunity, as I see it, is if we can be successful at what we do, we will get people talking and sharing, and we'll get them doing the marketing for us. So it sounds pretty easy, something that we all want to do. And I think the place where we need to start, I don't think it matters if you've got 1 million Facebook fans. I don't think it matters if you're the world's best Instagrammer. If you're a tourism operation, it all starts by providing an amazing experience. If you aren't providing an amazing experience, people aren't going to talk about your product. Think about it yourself. You go out for a meal on Friday night, you have an amazing experience, you come into work and you tell all your friends about it. You aren't telling them about that because you're trying to give the restaurant a hand. You're telling them because it was a phenomenal dining experience. And as I said, I think there's a huge opportunity here, and a huge opportunity for us as tourism providers to think about how you can make your experience a remarkable experience. So I am also a Seth Godin fan, a huge Seth Godin fan. When I first read Seth Godin's book, Purple Cow, it completely changed the way I think about marketing. Seth's really awesome to follow on Twitter. He's got a really cool blog as well. I encourage anyone, a business owner, this is a book for business owners, but anyone in marketing, read it, it's really awesome. So I'd try and do the analogy, I won't do it anywhere as well as Seth does, but he talks about the concept of being a purple cow. So imagine yourself like me, I'm a bit of a city slicker. At work all week, on the weekend I'm going to go out to Girraween, I'm going to go with some friends to the country, and you start driving out, you get to the city edge, you pass your first paddock and it's full of cows, and you're with your friend and you're like, oh my God, those cows are so cute, and you're, oh my God, they're the cutest cows, you might pull over and take a photo. Go past your second paddock, oh, more cute cows, awesome. Past your third, your fourth, your fifth paddock, by like the sixth paddock you're like, meh, cows, like whatever. It's all blurs into just, the countryside. And Seth sort of asks you to think about what would you do if on that seventh paddock you drove by there was a purple cow in the paddock. You'd probably pull your car over, take a photo, scream about it, put it on your Facebook page and tell all your friends about this purple cow you saw. And that's what he's talking about as business owners. I was recently had the pleasure of being up on the Fraser Coast, and I was at Hervey Bay and was able to go out on a couple of whale watch operators' boats. And up there, I think there are 6 different whale watch operators that do the whale watch experience. And I thought, how tough? Like, what would you do if you're one of those 6 operators? What can you do to be a purple cow? What are you going to do that's going to differentiate your experience from the others so that people will choose your experience over the other 5. Read this book, it's got some great tips in it. And I'm going to kind of move now into just sort of, I guess, sharing some tips and learnings. I think my biggest bugbear anywhere I go is when there's no free Wi-Fi. It just does my head in. I don't understand why anyone would put a barrier in between a visitor sharing about your destination. I just say no free Wi-Fi is no sharing. And you've just put a huge barrier in the way of people advocating for your destination and people marketing your destination for you. I think it's particularly true if you're marketing to international guests. In Australia, we really have pretty crappy access to Wi-Fi here. I've been really blessed in North America. Every second corner, every city has free Wi-Fi everywhere. But in Australia, it's not the case. So free Wi-Fi, I really advocate for that. And the other point, it sounds really simple, but you'll be amazed what happens when you actually ask people to do what you would like them to do. And this is the point around just encouraging people to share. This is a poster that we had made up for a campaign I recently worked on with Tropical North Queensland. The hashtag we were trying to get out there was "This is my paradise." So we had this A2 poster done up with the hashtag on there, and we just distributed it to the different tourism operators in region and encouraged them to put it up throughout their business. But think about how you can put your hashtag on your business cards. Think about how you can put it on the bottom of your email signature. There's so many ways that you can get the word out there around what you would like people to do. I met Shaun. He's the guy with the Margaret River Discovery Company. So he runs adventure tours and winery tours in the Margaret River region of WA. I met him, we were speaking at the same conference together about a year ago, and hands down, he was my favourite speaker from the whole day. So he's an owner-operator of a company. He has a long history of working in the tourism industry, working for other people in the industry, and he sort of got to the point where he was a bit sick of it and really wanted to make money for himself. So he set up his own business. The unfortunate thing was he did it at a time right during the global financial crisis. So not long after opening, he was spending money on marketing, and he was not getting anywhere, and he was about a week away from needing to close his whole business down because he was on the brink of bankruptcy. And he just stopped in his tracks and he just tried to simplify. And today, he has one of the most successful tour companies in Australia. He spends $0 on marketing and he spends 15 minutes a day on social media. So Shaun had 3 tips for what he did and how he is successful. One of them was he focused on TripAdvisor. Online reviews for him are crucial. So if you look at his listing on TripAdvisor, he's the #1 experience in the Margaret River region, but he's also the #1 tourism experience in the whole of Australia on TripAdvisor, and has been for the last 2 years in a row. So encouraging reviews on TripAdvisor and responding to reviews on TripAdvisor, that was his #1 recommendation. The second thing is he's a really great photographer, and he posts 1 photo a day on Facebook. The photo that he posts is usually about sort of his brand or his experience or just the region in general. So he posts Monday to Friday, he posts a photo on Facebook. And his third tip was being consistent, no excuses. If there's a review that needs responding on TripAdvisor, he responds. He wants to get his community used to the fact he's going to post a photo a day on Facebook. He doesn't get distracted and go silent for a week. He's consistent. So online reviews, if you're a business operator, I can't stress enough. Yes, people trust recommendations from their friends and family, but second to that, they trust recommendations from complete random strangers as well. They're incredibly important, probably even more important than sometimes, valued recommendations that journalists write. So online reviews, anyone in the room who knows me knows I am a total coffee snob. This is actually a sign that was up in my local coffee store at work. This is up on the on the machine. Leave us a review on Bean Hunter and get a free regular coffee. Bean Hunter, for those who don't know, is a mobile app. It surfaces up the best coffee located around you. I use it all the time. So again, I think just speaking to that point around, you'll be amazed what happens when you ask people to do something for you, and you can incentivize it. Here they're giving away free coffee. But also for hoteliers, tourism operators in general, TripAdvisor has a bunch of free resources that you can use. If you go onto their website, just go to the advertiser section of TripAdvisor. They've got little forms that you can print out and attach with your invoice when you hand that over to people. There's little stickers that you can order to put on your window of your business. And I actually took that photo, which is the photo at the top, how was your visit? And they're personalised little cards that you can order off TripAdvisor totally for free. So they just had them on the counter of their check-in. You can leave them behind, on the bedside table in the rooms. Think about throughout your business where you can leave these kind of cards. But it's not just, I think TripAdvisor is super important for tourism businesses, but it's also really important, in my opinion, for destination RTOs, STOs. When I joined the CTC and I moved into the role of head of social and I jumped on TripAdvisor, of course I wanted to know how Canada was represented, because TripAdvisor had a gajillion times more web traffic than our website would ever get. So, this is really important for us to be representing Canada in the way that I wanted it represented, the way our brand team wanted Canada represented. So this is Calgary. Calgary is the gateway city to Banff National Park. In my opinion, probably one of the most spectacular parts of the world. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just going to flick through. These are some of the photos that were on the side of Calgary. Pretty horrible. And I was horrified. So I picked up the phone, I phoned Jim, my TripAdvisor rep, and I was like, what the hell, get these photos sorted out. These are terrible. And he said, well, you only have yourself to blame, Kate. If you want to change those photos, you can change them yourself. So all we had to do was set up an account and upload our brand photos. So that's what we did. And we went in and we updated our photos and we showcased the destination the way that we wanted our destination showcased, which is not a destination of empty streets and horrible empty cities, but a place where you can really get out and be a part of the experience, which is what we were trying to communicate at Tourism Canada. I think one of the tips I mentioned that Shaun had shared was posting a photo a day on Facebook. And I have to be totally honest with you, Shaun is a phenomenal photographer. He has an amazing eye for photography, and that goes a really long way. Your content has to be epic if you want it to be shared. There's so much volume of content out there being shared today. You think about yourself and the last thing that you ever shared. If you shared something on Facebook or you shared something on Instagram, we only on-share it today if it's really good content. So I think it's really important to remember that. This slide I wanted to share, just really giving props to the TQ Digi team. I think it can be really overwhelming to think about all these different channels that you've got to manage. And I think this is just a great example of content efficiencies. That's something that the TQ Digital team talks a lot about, being efficient with content. So this is just an example. Recently, it was World Turtle Day. Obviously, turtles are a huge motivator for why people want to come to Queensland and check out a turtle. So this all started, this circle of life here. They found a user-generated photo that someone had posted on Instagram. So they regrabbed it in the middle on Instagram. They shared it on Facebook. They shared it on Google+. And a week before, they were trying to drive people to share their photos of turtles on Twitter. So just a really great example, I think, of content efficiencies and not needing to recreate the wheel in every single different platform. And I think the other thing that this really speaks to for me is just the idea of being timely. There are things that happen in this world that are going to happen, things like World Turtle Day. So, the team has a calendar, they're looking out at, okay, what's happening, what will people be talking about online, what buzz is there going to be that we can naturally join the conversation on. World Turtle Day was one of them. So think about that for yourself. There are other examples, though, when stuff happens that you can't be planned for. And this is just an example from my time while I was at CTC. Obviously, this is the Super Bowl, which is huge in North America, probably not as big here. But everyone in Canada, everyone in America stops during the Super Bowl. So this was last year at the Super Bowl. Beyonce performed at the halftime show. She did an amazing performance, and the power actually blew out in the in the stadium. So there was a blackout in the stadium. But I was sitting at home as well watching the game, and I thought, why not? I'm going to jump on that opportunity for Canada as well. And I just posted this photo. It's a bit hard to read, but it says, "Don't worry, folks, there's no chance of a blackout in Canada, just a whiteout." It was winter at the time. Skiing was a really big motivator for us. So, just really simple. That's someone's user-generated photo. Just thinking about if there's buzz happening online, how can you be a part of that conversation and how can you make that relevant for your destination? Another big props to the TQ Digi team, and this is just an example of, I guess, a brand being human. This is a guy who landed, my eyesight's really bad, so I have to stand here. He's from Finland, and he landed and he said, "Back at Brisbane Airport, next stop Cairns, #Brisbane, #Cairns, #Australia." And so Tourism Queensland jumped in straight away. "You will love Cairns. Do you need any tips on what to do and where to eat?" So nothing in it for them, just truly trying to be helpful, trying to be, behave in a really human way and give some tips. He comes back and says, "I don't think I can afford anything else than tuna and noodles, thanks though." This is probably a backpacker, poor guy. And then Queensland says, "We'd love to shout you dinner then. Let us know how much longer you're in Cairns and we'll set something up." Pretty cool. And then, I don't know how good your Finnish is, but he actually retweeted that tweet, and then in Finnish, he came in and tweeted to his audience, "Wow, how cool was that last retweet? What an awesome example of Australian hospitality, Queensland hospitality." So this is Queensland driving advocacy through a really simple action of listening and being human and responding. There are conversations happening online all the time about your destination about your business. It's really easy to be listening to those conversations. I encourage you to listen and respond and behave like a human and be helpful, and you'll be amazed at what will happen for your destination. Surprise and Delight, this is a program that I ran at CTC, and the TQ team also runs it. Just randomly surprising people that were sharing content and advocating and kind of aligning to the strategy that we had. So we would always just randomly send people on Instagram that were using our hashtags, these really beautiful bamboo cases that had our hashtag Explore Canada embedded on them. We'd send them out, and then you'd get this like mega meta sharing thing happening where people had shared, they got a photo, they take a photo of the photo and then reshare the photo of the thing that they got. And our fans they just love it. It's such a simple little thing as saying thank you to someone and sending them a little gift even further ignites advocacy. It even further ignites sharing. So if you can think about that for your own experience. And I think it's really important just to think about where some of your other good advocates can be. And I think your own employees are sometimes your very best advocates. If you're a family-owned business, think about your kids. If they're in the business, they're probably attached to their mobiles. Put them to work. This is a girl called Kaz. She lives on the Gold Coast and she works at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. So she's a visitor services manager there. I think a lot of people at TQ would say she's got the dream job, best job in the world. She gets to hang out with the cute furry animals and cute spiky animals as well. But this is a photo. Her handle on Instagram is @Sabiak. If you want a daily dose of cuteness, I encourage you to follow her. But this is just a small selection of her photos that Gold Coast Tourism have regrammed and reposted across Facebook. This is just the absolute tip of the iceberg of Queensland content of Sabiak's that's been reposted. And this is just a tiny selection of some of her content that's been posted by Tourism Australia. If I was Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary owner, I would be doing everything to keep Kaz happy, because she single-handedly is promoting Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. And just alone across Facebook, there's a potential combined audience across all of these tourism partners of over 7 million people. So look to your employees. A lot of people have an interest in photography, and just empower them to do what they love and take photos. And if I leave probably any tip with you today, it's really sharing your content with your partners. And the easiest way to do that is these hashtags here. Hashtag This Is Queensland and hashtag See Australia. And if you're working within a smaller region, make sure you become aware of your regional tourism organisation's hashtag as well. Use the hashtag. It gives them permission to regram and repost your content, and it lets them promote your business for you. That's all I got today.
shines. Queensland shines on me, where Australia shines.